Unfortunately, the feature layer object append method when upserting does not support attachments. In fact, the append method doesn't support attachments anyway. In this video, we are going to piece together different aspects of this course so far to create a workflow where you use append with upsert to update attributes in a feature layer and also add attachments. First of all, a special thank you to Scott Gillett, who requested this video and supported the content. So go ahead and open up the append upsert.py script from the attachments folder. Back in the add data section, you use the append method for the feature layer object to append records from a file geodatabase into various feature layers and tables. We are revisiting the append method here once more. This time we are going to use upsert. Upsert allows you to match incoming data to a unique value that already exists and only update the attributes for that feature that have been altered or differ from the current attributes. Unfortunately, upsert does not work with attachments, so we're going to use the ArcGIS API for Python to create a workflow that mimics upsert for those attachments. We first access ArcGIS Online, applying in our home string to our GIS class. We'll assign our GIS object to a variable called agol. We then use our GIS object content manager get method and supply in our feature service item ID, which I'll paste in now. The get method will return an item object that will assign to a variable called item. Very similar to the append video, we're going to add a file geodatabase item to ArcGIS Online. I've added a new zipped folder to the data folder called append with upsert.zip. This contains a file geodatabase that has a single feature class in there named trail viewpoints. It is a point feature class that has the same schema and features as the current trail viewpoint layer in the feature service. We add that file geodatabase to our ArcGIS Online content, and we are returned an item object that will name GDB item. Once we have the file geodatabase in ArcGIS Online, there's a bit of cleanup we need to do to be able to use upsert. Append with upsert is not supported when sync or change tracking is enabled. We currently have sync enabled on our feature service. So we create a feature layer collection from our item object and we update where sync is not in the capabilities. To use upsert, we are going to need a field that has a unique index set for that field. We access our trail viewpoints layer as a feature layer object and we'll assign that to a variable called FL. We create an index field dictionary. We'll set the name of the index to view name index. The field is going to be our viewpoint name from our trail viewpoints layer. Is unique will set to true. We can give a description of trail viewpoint index and an index type of attribute. We then add to our feature layer definition or updating or adding to the indexes, which is a list. So we add our index field dict to the list and we will have a unique index set for our viewpoint name field. Now we can use append and upsert. We'll get the item ID from our geodatabase item that we uploaded. We then use that in the append method. We set the item ID to the GDB item ID. We are upserting from the file geodatabase to our feature layer, which is our trail viewpoints. The upload format is file GDB. The source table name in our file GDB is trail_viewpoints. We set upsert to true. We are not using global IDs because the global IDs from the file geodatabase won't match the global IDs in your feature layer. We're not updating geometry, we're setting that to false. If you were updating geometry, you could set that to true. And our upsert matching field is our viewpoint name with the unique index. We're going to publish the GDB as a hosted feature service, download the attachments from the published feature service, skipping over any attachments that are already available in the current feature layer. We then add attachments to the current feature layer and we'll do some cleanup to remove content items and delete from File Explorer. We call our feature layer object query method. So this is our trail viewpoints layer. We are interested in two fields, the viewpoint name and the object ID, and we do not need geometry returned. Now we're going to create two dictionaries, an attachment dictionary and an OID dictionary. The key for our attachment dictionary is going to be the viewpoint name that is unique, and the value will be a list of attachment names if any attachments have been found. Our OID dict will also have a key of the viewpoint name, and the value will be the object ID from our feature layer. We iterate over the feature set returned from the query method. So for features, in our feature set features, we get a list of attachments for each feature. If attachments have been found, we're going to populate our attachment dictionary, where the key is the viewpoint name and the value is a list of attachment names associated with that feature. We also update our OID dictionary with the viewpoint name, and the value is the object ID for that viewpoint name. I'll print both those dictionaries to screen so we can talk through them when I run this workflow. The attribute dictionary is going to help out with recognizing what attachments are already associated with features so we don't duplicate. And the OID dict is going to help with adding the new attachments to the correct features. We publish the geodatabase as a feature service. So we use our GDB item object and the publish method. I'm going to assign the resulting item object to a variable called GDBFS item. Now that we have our feature service from our file geodatabase, there'll be one layer in there named trail viewpoints, and we're going to download the attachments from that layer. We're going to use the download folder in our attachment folder from our course material. We'll assign that path to a variable called download folder. We'll create a variable called GDB_FL that represents the single feature layer in our geodatabase feature service. We query that GDB feature layer to return a feature set. Once more, we're only interested in the viewpoint name and the object ID, and we're not interested in the geometry. We iterate over the features from that feature set. So for each feature, once more, we're getting the attachment list. If attachments exist, we're going to create a folder path, which is the download folder plus the viewpoint name. If that folder path doesn't already exist, we create it. For each attachment in the attachments, if the viewpoint name is a key in the attachment dictionary and the name of the attachment already exists in the list of attachment names associated with that viewpoint name, then continue. We don't want to download something that already exists in our main feature layer that we're going to upsert and add these attachments to. If the attachment doesn't exist, then we'll create an outfile path. If that outfile path doesn't exist, we are going to download the attachment. Once we've downloaded all our attachments into their viewpoint name folders, we're going to delete the GDB feature service item, and we're also going to delete the GDB item itself. We then look to add the attachments to our feature layer. We'll create a dictionary where the key is the folder name, which is the viewpoint name, and then a list of file paths associated with that viewpoint name. I'll print that file stick to screen so we can talk through the output. For each folder and files list in our files dictionary, we use our OID dict. So the folder will be a viewpoint name, and that matches a key in the OID dictionary where we return the OID for the feature that we want to add the attachment to. So for each file in the files list, we add the attachment based on the OID and the file name. Once we've gone through a specific folder and we've added the attachments, we can delete that folder from our system. Once all the attachments have been added, we turn sync back on using our feature layer collection update definition. Before running, let me pop on over to ArcGIS Online. Here we have our feature service. I'm going to click into data. We can see our trail viewpoints. Our viewpoint name field will become a uniquely indexed field. The data coming from the file geodatabase has a matching viewpoint name, And the only thing that is different is the average rating. So we'll see those average ratings alter. And we will also see more attachments over here for different features. I'll head back to the Python script and run. The script is complete. Before heading to check out the updates, let me just show you the outputs. We can see our attachments dictionary here. So there was only one attachment for our made up battle site. And in the list, you can see the name of that attachment. This dictionary was used when we were downloading from the file geodatabase feature layer, that we weren't downloading this attachment because it already existed. Then we had our object ID dictionary. You can see here for each trail viewpoint name, we have the object ID. And then we had our files dictionary. This also had a key of the trail viewpoint name and a list of file paths for the attachments to add. When we were adding, we took the name of the trail viewpoint, had a look at the object ID dictionary, grabbed the OID, and then we iterated over the list and added the attachment. So let's head over to ArcGIS Online and check out the result. You can see here the single attachment for the made up battlefield, made up battle site. And if you take a look at the average ratings, we're going to see those update too. I'll refresh the page. And we can see our average ratings have been updated. And if we take a look over on the right for our attachments, our made up battle site now has 2 attachments, and we have a single attachment for 3 other features. So you've successfully used the ArcGIS API for Python to upsert the attribute values and then build upon that with a custom workflow to upsert the attachments. This video highlights the power of the ArcGIS API for Python when it comes to custom workflows. Make sure to continue on to the next video in this playlist and to subscribe. Take care.